Good morning, everyone, and welcome to TechTalk. It's Tuesday. I'm excited. I've done more teaching this week than I have done in like months. So it's getting that mind frame into that. That's for sure. Welcome to Tech Talk. Don't forget, after Tech Talk, Ivan will be doing a back end course, right, from 11 to 12.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you said Kathryn.
He just sort of popped in there out of nowhere.
Yeah. So if there's anything that you're having troubles getting, or, you know, again, I learned how to work with those, I don't know what he calls them, those bits and pieces, so you can put an article together differently, right? These are like templates, right? And so that, again, is today from 11 till 12 p.m. And then on Monday morning, we'll have Ivan, coffee with Ivan, tea with Sheila, and coffee with Ivan. Do you have a subject set up for this week, Ivan?
I do.
Okay. It'll be good, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise.
It's a secret.
And then, of course, Lisa will be leading our membered referral from 10:30 to 11 in a discussion lounge, as usual. Let's see. What is the 25th next Tuesday? No, it's next Wednesday. Okay.
Resolving conflict.
Resolving conflict. There you go. There you go. So that should actually lead to some really interesting, knowing Lisa, right? Some good conversations when we're not being recorded. And then, of course, at 3 or 3:30, Sheila? 3:30? Yeah, okay, I'm not very good at lip reading. Thank you.
It's okay. 3:30.
Next Wednesday, it will be Sheila's tea time. Okay. Also, just to let you know, keep watching the newsletters and the website. We have some pretty exciting member activities coming up, at least in the Hamilton area. I haven't heard anything from Windsor, so I can't tell you them yet. But
I have.
Oh. Okay.
Anything happening in Barrie?
No, Barrie's in Sodoma right now.
Barrie's in Sodoma.
Mm-hmm.
Continental shifts.
Yeah. So nothing's happening right now there. And I haven't gotten any updates from Jennifer either.
Can I brag about our newest city leader?
Yes.
All right. So we have a city leader who has been harassing me nonstop. So I just got tired of it. I just like, fine, Maggie, you're the city leader. Okay. All right, Maggie. So Maggie is our city leader for St. Catherine's. Yes. So welcome. Hey, I'm very, very stoked because she's pushy, man. so watch out, Windsor, because Maggie. Okay.
I've already got nothing set in stone yet, but I've got some ideas coming up for some events. So
yeah, I'm stoked.
Excellent.
Yeah,
you have 100% of our support for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Always, yeah, exactly.
All right.
So anyway,
by the way, did you notice that Thomas is sweating down there? Look at him, nervous. Thomas,
no, he's not.
He's nervous, man.
No, he's not. Tom,
getting out of bed in the morning, so it's not really a.
We'll keep you on your toes, Maggie. Don't worry.
Awesome.
We got some plans, and Kathryn, you haven't heard about them yet because it's in process.
Okay.
Yeah. In process.
So yeah, we'll talk about that during city leader calls, right? We'll get that on. But just so everybody knows, here in Hamilton, anyway, for members and non-members, so we want it to be a family event. 18 and over, Michael. We have an axe throwing coming up.
So I can't come?
17 and up, sorry. Okay. We have axe throwing coming up and networking, and we just need you to let us know so that we can have enough lanes reserved, because for that we're gonna have a instructor. We get the lane for an hour, and then after the axe throwing, you get a bar drink. So,
Mm-hmm.
What's the when of this event?
what's the win?
The when.
When?
Oh, the when. Oh, yeah, sure. Because I don't have
That's
that
our June.
calendar.
That's in June, right?
It's in June. Oh, there's my calendar. I told Teresa when it was. It's a Tuesday, the 21st. June 21st.
I'll
Okay.
block my calendar now.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then just a heads up, in July, we're going to be going to a cedar house where they make cider house.
Cider house. Yeah,
That's Cedar House rules, right? That's where I had that brain.
I think it's cider house rules.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Jennifer,
on to
Doesn't
tech, because
Jennifer-
I'm not doing well with announcements, okay?
yeah. Does
Yeah.
Jennifer have an in-person event coming up next week?
I don't have that in front of me.
I thought it came up in conversation, but no.
It could be, I think it's maybe her virtual.
I thought it was at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next
Well,
week.
we'll
you
have to,
said?
thank you for that, because we'll have to check into that. Because, we would certainly want to be promoting it, and Kitchener's not that far away. Jennifer.
Yeah, next week I don't have one
Yeah,
scheduled.
okay.
I thought it was like the 24th or something.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that would be next week then. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
I lost track. I couldn't believe this long weekend. My oldest kid's birthday is, and it's like, oh, that creeped up. It's like, I gave him his birthday present 2 days early just so I wouldn't forget, because he's going to be, him and his wife and kid is going away on the long weekend. And it's like, man, I'm getting that age. If I don't give him a birthday present now, I'll forget, and it'll be his sister's birthday, and I'll go, oh, anyway. Watch out, guys. That's what happens. Just telling you.
And I'm the oldest one here.
I know.
Michael, you're on my team for axe throwing. Just saying.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll have fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be a blast. And it's funny, anybody I have mentioned it to, I've always I think it was Jane, right? She's like, I've always wanted to do that. Me too. Right? So
There's a
Definitely
cost
count
associated
me
with
in.
that, right? Right, Kathryn?
yes, it's $24 a person.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a cost, yeah. But I mean, it's a reasonable cost rate for the hour of that.
And it is in Hamilton or?
Yes,
or
downtown Hamilton on James
Okay.
Street. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It's at Battle Axe.
Oh,
Wow.
Definitely heard of it.
Quite
BAT.
apropos.
ABTL, Battle, and then Axe. Yeah, so.
Okay.
Battle Axe.
Fun. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So it's close to the donut shop, right?
Everything is close to the donut shop.
Headed that
I
way.
think
Yeah,
there
it
should
is
be
on James
donuts
Street.
also, like before we throw the axe,
ooh, that was hot.
All right.
and then alcohol
Maggie.
after the axe.
All right, that negates all the empty calories that we have. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna, it's a
Drink
sponge.
Sheila's tea after we get home, right?
It's a
And
sponge.
detoxify. Anyway,
I come
On
to
to
think about it, I
tech.
did buy an axe at Christmas.
okay. La, la, la,
No,
la. It's tech
relax.
talk.
My son-in-law, it was
Okay,
like
all right.
put on the wall to look nice.
So, guys, we're getting there, really halfway through the year, and lots of technologies and neat little stuff and have come up in that. But, you often wonder, like, where are we headed?
Mhm.
And so I have actually gotten looking into stuff we're expecting within the next decade. So to start 2030 off, we're going to be looking at some stuff that's coming up. And, I thought, oh, it'll be a Jetsons episode. But it is way better than any Jetson episode that we thought was the future. Some of this stuff is amazing. So share, optimize this screen. Let's see if I'm doing it today. Yes, I did it. All right, guys. It does have the subtitles on it, and I think it's because the voice is a little odd, so I left them on. Okay. So number one.
AI will likely become a reality. By 2030, there will be exponential improvements of computer processing power, voice recognition, image recognition, deep learning, and other software algorithms. Likewise, natural language processing technologies like GPT-3 are constantly being updated and surpassed. It will likely reach the point where artificial intelligence can pass the Turing test. This is a test where a human engages in a conversation with a machine and probes it with numerous questions. And if that machine can convince that person that it's human, it passes the test. This could quickly lead to AI-generated virtual assistants that have the capability to carry nuanced conversations with you. And later, this technology could carry over to characters in virtual worlds and video games. Number 2, 8K virtual reality headsets will become mainstream. By 2030, most VR screens will have 8K resolution, which has 4 times the number of pixels as 4K screens. When you view character models and objects up close with these devices, there will be zero visible pixelation, resulting in breathtaking detail and realism. Because of other equipment upgrades, VR games will have near zero latency and a wide field of view. Additionally, some haptic suits will become electrode meshes to maximize comfort and convenience. Number 3, brain interface devices will become mainstream. By 2030, most VR headsets could include the option for a brain-computer interface to record users' electrical signals, enabling actions to be directed by merely thinking about them. Headbands and wristbands with non-invasive sensors could become the preferred choices for mainstream brain-computer interface use. However, the immersive effects provided by brain-computer interfaces could be limited at this stage and only usable in specific situations. Nonetheless, they will provide increasingly more lifelike ways of interacting with virtual characters, objects, and environments in the metaverse. Number 4, the first quantum computers with 1 million qubits will emerge. By 2030, IBM and Google could each build quantum computers with 1 million qubits. This advancement will revolutionize how we solve optimization problems, train and run machine learning algorithms, and better understand the physical processes of nature down to the subatomic level. It will revolutionize areas such as artificial intelligence, financial modeling, drug development, weather forecasting, and cybersecurity. And by as soon as 2035, fully functional quantum computers could become available to the public, both in the cloud and as physical units. Number 5, 3D printed human organs will begin being used. By 2030, 3D printing will be used to construct living biological systems. Layer after layer of cells could be dispensed from printer heads and placed exactly where they're needed with microscopic precision. Initially, they construct simple components like blood vessels and tissues. Next, they would begin to print relatively simple organs. In the coming decades, they could eventually print the majority of the 78 organs in the human body. Number 6.
All right, there we go. So I'm going to stop there, right? So, Ivan, did you have your meeting with Smith AI yesterday?
I did.
And
You know, it's interesting because they're able to put together virtual assistants that really have a broad range of intelligence in them, right? So just like he's talking about nuanced conversations and responses, etc., this artificial intelligence is pretty revolutionary. But the thing is that they're not the only company doing it. They've just figured out how to drive the cost down to an average user like me, so that we could, look like rock stars, I guess, out there. So yeah, it was good.
yeah,
In fact, I was so blown away by it that halfway through the conversation, I said, "Teresa's got to get on this conversation." So I sent her a note and said, "Here, you got to jump in on this to actually hear what's going on."
yeah,
So,
yeah. I saw this advertisement for a virtual AI assistant, and I sent it to Ivan because I thought he'll freak out on it. And sure enough, by the time I asked him, "Did you see my messenger to you?" He goes, "Yeah, I have an appointment with him later today."
yeah. It was definitely, definitely cool. For
Right.
sure.
So, that's exciting because again, how many of us could use a virtual assistant, but we're not sure with the human how you are going to be able to, how reliable are they? Are they going to be personable? Are they going to follow through on anything that wasn't finished, like bringing it to your attention and stuff like that, where these AIs, you're going to have them set up where unfinished business gets, put in a to-do list for you kind of stuff, right? You could set it up however you want. So I thought that was pretty exciting. And Nathan, were you,
Yeah, I just gonna say yesterday, I don't know if anybody's ever used one of those voice generators, right? To create a message. So if you don't want to create a message for yourself, you can go into a voice generator like voicegenerator.io or voicebooking.com. And you have your, hi, thank you for calling Diamarantz. We are, whatever. And you put that whole sentence together and you drop it into just drop it into the field and hit play. And then you hear somebody say, welcome. And Kathryn, you heard.
Yeah, it was really good. It was not AI at all.
A lot of it sounded like, most of it, except for one word, because you would say, thank you for calling this great city. You wouldn't say, thank you for calling this great city. You'd say, you'd emphasize this. That's the only word in the entire paragraph they got off, that they just got wrong. So for me, I think that it's absolutely brilliant. You would not be able to tell that it was not.
Yeah, well, that's like the voice that's doing this video. I'm kind of thinking it's AI, but I don't know.
I thought
AI.
that too. It didn't seem like a normal human's
No.
voice.
Yeah.
And there's a couple little spots where it sort of seemed to cut a little bit there.
Yeah.
But
But it wasn't awful to listen to either.
No.
Like
No.
Well, you can understand what it was saying most of the time, yeah.
Yeah. So
some of the technology in there, though, like printing organs and stuff like
I
that.
know.
I mean, that
Okay,
is
we're gonna get
pretty
there.
far out there. On the other hand, there's
They're
people,
doing that right now with
already
blood
doing
vessels.
Yeah, there's people
already
out there
doing
who need organs, right?
Yeah.
And as we
Didn't
live
we share
longer,
a video one week on TechTalk about that, where somebody got a 3D printed heart inserted in their body or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that is still very trial. And it was only to buy time until a real heart was available. But this person
Oh,
had
it was like a temporary heart. kind of
Yeah, it
thing.
was a temporary stopgap, right? Because a compatible real heart hadn't been found for the person. But I mean, what a wonderful stopgap, because there are every 3 days in Canada, someone dies waiting for a transplant.
Really?
and that's
Yeah,
going to
there's
get
actually
worse, right? Because people are living longer. So as we live longer, the potential pool of organs goes down. Because if we live a full life, our organs, why do we pass away in the end if we live a full life? It's because our organs expire, right? We just fall
Or
apart.
get abused or injured through illness or injuries, right?
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of that. The main organs, right, on the transplant list are your heart, lungs, liver, and kidneys.
Yep.
Those are the four biggies. And the heart's a wonderful thing, but when I'm teaching, I go, it's just a pump.
Mm.
It's a self-contained pump.
Yep.
Like all it needs from our body is oxygen through blood supply.
And a signal, right?
No, it's got its own signal. It's got its own pacemaker up in the atriums, up in the top.
Is it not connected to our brain, and our brain
Nope.
is
Not at all. You can take a heart out as long as you got long enough vessels, right? And it'll pump in your hand as long as the blood vessels. Yeah, no, it's got its own pacemaker. It's the SA node and the AV nodes, just
Okay.
the two, right? So the SA triggers the AV. Sorry about the technical, but just to let you know.
it's tech talk. It's good.
Yeah, I guess it is technical. Yeah, jargon of a different kind, though, right? So yeah, and there are over 4,000 people in the province of in the country of Canada waiting for transplants right now, like have been approved, and that's a lot of people, because there's such a stigma against that is still very much so. I think it's horrible. Their rules. So my brother was 10, my brother passed away last year. He was 10 years older than me. And so I don't know what my brother's done with his organ donor. And so he decided to do a donation. And they called me and I went, oh, that's great. Okay, you're looking for him kind of thing, right? Make arrangements. She goes, no, we want to confirm that you're okay with it. I went,
Really?
but my brother, he says, yeah, but family makes the final. Even though he'd signed for what he decided to donate, right?
I thought the
Wow.
default in Ontario now was because a lot of people haven't signed cards. I thought the default in Ontario is now that you are donating unless you have signed not to donate.
No. Then the family can pick and choose, right? So then they'll address, and that's one of the big problems was the education of doctors, because doctors felt uneasy. I mean, there's the lifesavers. Now they're going, yeah, can we just keep them alive so we can harvest their organs, please? Because that's
Right.
basically what they have to do.
Absolutely. Yep. You
And
got to keep
so-
you on a machine.
Yeah, so that everything is viable as possible. And so doctors felt it went against all their ethics and oaths and all that. But they've starting to see, and the younger generation is much more pragmatic at that, right?
Yeah.
One of the things when I'm teaching, it's like, would you put a defibrillator on a pregnant woman? And of course, anybody that's over the age of 40 goes, no, what about the baby? And I'm going, well, you only use a defibrillator and people are dead, right? But they're all worried about the baby. Where anybody under the age of 40 goes, why wouldn't you? Of course you would. She's dead, right? Like they're much more pragmatic. That's kind of, I think that's a proper word term. So yeah, so hopefully stuff like this, Michael, will really make a difference, or even if it's just stopgap for a while, Nathan. It's going to give people some longevity and better quality.
I remember when they brought out the first artificial heart, the Jarvik heart. I think it was in like 1978, 88, around there. And it was very controversial. This guy was half dead and they put this thing on him and he was staying alive and it was pumping away. And people were like, oh, I don't know, like, can you do that? And eventually, I think he got a real heart and then lived for, 10 years or something like that and then passed away. But, it really shows how the technology has changed and also how the attitudes have changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember being young and even in school and they were talking about all these things in tech that were going to happen one day.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of like there's this grand plan that we can't release things to people too quickly because we need a chance to mentally wrap our brains around things, right? And to adapt. Whereas if, we threw all the technology out there today that is even in preliminary thing, people would just, they'd freak.
Do you remember the first test tube baby?
Yep, that was very controversial. Very controversial. Yeah.
Not a test tube baby, but that's how she was referred to, the little British girl who's probably retiring anytime soon.
Yeah, she's probably, I'm going to say, well, that was what, 1983, 84. So she's in the middle of her life. She's mid 40s, right?
Yeah. Right. Because I was a teenager when that.
Yep,
came.
exactly.
Yeah. And you're right, because it is getting, euthanasia. 20 years ago, nobody could wrap their head around that.
Yep.
And now it's legal. So, hey, getting on a lighter note, Nathan, what did you think of that 8K?
The more Ks, the better, right?
Yeah. And those hepatic suits, like the vests and stuff like that, right? They're going to have so many contacts on them that you guys will be gaming like amazing,
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about this not too long ago with the VR stuff because it's the immersion has definitely been limited in terms of, really you're just wearing a head, the VR headsets that are out there now, like the mainstream ones, like your Oculus and stuff like that. It's just a thing you put on your head and controllers that you put in your hands. So there's obviously limits to the other stuff. I know, excuse me. I know a friend of mine, he just bought I think it's called a rumble vest or a rumble suit. And it's like a vest thing that he wears when he's playing VR. So let's say he's in like a combat game and somebody like, I don't know, punches him in the stomach or the ribs or something, start to rumble, he can sort of feel some sort of sensation in that area.
That's the same idea as this hepatic suits, because I had to look it up.
Remember when the Rebel Pack came out for your Nintendo 64 and just a little attachment that made your controller shake, and everyone was either losing their mind or loving it, and then it got built in, and now you got the full suits, right? So you're gonna be able to feel getting shot by a shot-off shotgun in a combat.
That's right. Well, you know what they say? They actually came out with the vest to help train first responders, right? So if they were in like police or emergency services, so they would know what it felt like, right? To be in those, they could jostle them around, you know, because you got thrown by a grenade that went off or something like that. But they say for you guys, it's going to be amazing. I know my son was all excited. He got a new Razer mouse. I get this picture and it's corner of a keyboard and a mouse. I went, okay.
I think those suits for gaming, like, I don't personally have any interest in that, but I think they're way off base on the 8K. I think in 2030, 8K is going to be like what you want, a dinosaur TV. I think we're talking 12 or 16K. I mean, let's be realistic.
VR. This isn't
totally different, because the reason you have 8K, in a VR headset is just because a lot of the modern VR headsets, you're literally just looking at two displays that are like inches away from your nose, right? So the idea is that right now the resolution in those headsets is not high enough so that you can't see the individual pixels. The problem with that is that you get what's called a screen door effect, where it literally looks like everything you're looking at is through a screen door. And so it removes the realism, it removes the immersion, and it actually can make some people sick and nauseous when they're on a VR headset. So by putting it to 8K, you're just basically removing that screen door effect. So you don't really need, like, I hear what you're saying from like a display, but you also have to think of it from the perspective of, okay, how close am I looking at this? How big is the display? And where's that equilibrium between I've got a big enough size of screen that's close enough to my face that I don't see the pixels.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, 8K TVs are coming out now too. So I think 8K for like displays, whether it's a computer, monitor, TV.
4K's only become cost effective probably in the last 3 or 4 years, and they've been around for over a decade.
Yep, but I think we're going to be at least at 12. Now, maybe in your VR headsets, maybe they lag a little bit more, but I think those other displays definitely will be more. And that, you know, I know there's also a thing, and I saw this many years ago, where there is a maximum number of pixels and even color shades that the human eye can discern, and we're getting to a point where when these displays are generated, we're able to make more different colors in the display than the human eye can even tell.
Oh yeah. Wow. Now, Nathan, correct me. I remember that VR is virtual, and AR, is that not the one where you're like on the holodeck where you're in a?
It's augmented reality. So AR just means you're still immersing your normal natural surroundings, but there's virtual objects that are sort of intermingled in it. So like, for example, if I've got a little virtual assistant like robot, I'm still seeing, you know, everything around me. I'm still seeing my office, the windows, my desk, but then maybe there's like this little virtual assistant that's kind of in the corner of my vision that's telling me, hey, by the way, you've got a meeting coming up in 10 minutes, or hey, don't forget to do this today.
So that's
like the holodecks that we saw in Star Trek and stuff like that.
That's like your little leprechaun.
Yes. Or like in Star Wars, where they had, I'm a Star Wars nerd, so it's easier to contextualize things for me on that. But like, you think back to episode 4 when they had R2-D2 projecting that little Princess Leia.
Oh, video, yeah.
The little video, the help me Obi-Wan Kenobi message, that would have been considered AR.
Okay. So that, I can see that progressing in the gaming, right? So that you can walk around your living room and all those things will appear, right? As you're hiding around.
Yeah, I feel like AR is more of a day-to-day evolution because it just augments your everyday life. But when you're playing a video game, you're literally being transported to a whole other world, right? You're in a freaking battle with a bunch of other guys, or you're playing baseball, or you're in a whole other environment. So to me, VR seems more gaming and entertainment oriented, but then AR seems to be more of a, increased productivity, make your day-to-day life a little bit more efficient, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's just my take on it.
So in AR, so AR would be where you and I'm sitting here in my office, and you guys would actually be sitting or standing in my office, and I'd see you around me. But VR would be where we're all avatars playing it inside a virtual world and walking around, right?
Yeah, and that's already a thing now with with this new metaverse evolution that Facebook's been working on, right? Like, I mean, I've got, like I said, I think most people know I have an Oculus headset at home, and there is I call it a game, but it's not really a game. It's called Horizon Worlds, I believe. And I've messed around with it a little bit. And you literally are an avatar. Now, you don't have legs. The avatar is only basically from the waist up, but you've got like a torso, arms, face. You can customize your appearance, hair, skin color, all that kind of stuff. And then you can interact with other people, like literally carry a conversation where it's one avatar talking to another avatar. So, and you don't know where these people are from, right? They could be somebody, say, down the street from you. This could be somebody all the way in like Japan or Australia or the US or something like that. So it's kind of interesting. It just gives you that opportunity to interact with new people and collect new, basically make new friends almost, right?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, because I'd only seen the AR done as like a engineer was trying to put new pieces on stuff to make sure stuff would work and that. But I thought that would work for you guys, but I see the difference now. Thank you. See, it's wonderful to learn stuff. Got to know the right people, right? And so the quantum computer. Ivan and I are talking about getting RAM for each other's, whoever gets to Canada computers first, pick up some extra RAM, and now we want some qubits. That'll be flipping amazing. Okay. I remember
Qubits is the relish I put on my hamburger.
Well, and I went, okay, so is that like a million bytes or something? All it is a unit of information, just like a bit is in computers. So we talk about a bit and 1,000 bytes, or a qubit is just a quantum bit.
I see.
It's like, oh man, here I was so excited. I was gonna have 100 million bytes of something, and it was like, oh, geez, But it'll be exciting. I hope it gets rid of some of the issues that we have, like me getting kicked off the internet when I'm hardwired. But and Ivan and I are in the same flipping office.
Well, that's because you're playing too much VR. You're using up all your
That's
why you can't work.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I know.
You're using your gigacubits there, and you only have a 0.5.
I think you're making words up now, Michael.
Of course I am, but I'm throwing the tech in there.
It sounded good, though. I must.
Yeah, a cubic gigabit.
Wow.
Wow,
Michael.
Yeah, there you go. Check that one out.
All right.
Yeah, nothing's coming up in the search engine.
Whoops. Shoot. Okay, so now let's get on to, and I must admit, these new ones that they're talking about really did catch me, because a lot of them are medical advances that are going to happen. So just like this next one that's coming up, it's pretty amazing. All right, here we go. Oh,
print relatively simple organs. In the coming decades, they could eventually print the majority of the 78 organs in the human body. Number 6, artificial brain implants will restore lost memories. By 2030, it could become possible to replicate small areas of the brain with artificial brain implants in order to repair damage from Alzheimer's, strokes, or injuries. This also includes the restoration of lost memories. That's because these devices can mimic the electrochemical signals from regions like the hippocampus, which is involved in the consolidation of information from short-term to long-term memory. The device will work by effectively replacing damaged parts of the brain, predicting what those parts of the brain should do from microsecond to microsecond, and then allowing the transmission of brain signals between areas where there was once a gap. Through the 2030s and 40s, artificial brain implants will become increasingly more effective at replicating complex functions in the brain. Number 7, SpaceX's first crewed Mars mission will be successful. As early as 2024, SpaceX astronauts will launch into space and reach Mars by 2025. They will use the SpaceX Starship on the Super Heavy rocket to reach the planet. Additionally, they'll bring robots with them to perform activities like making basic materials and parts on Mars. After landing on Mars, the spacecraft would be loaded with methane-based rocket fuel that they could create on Mars to return to Earth. Number 8, the first version of the quantum internet could emerge. A quantum internet would use quantum signals instead of radio signals to send information. This type of internet would be primarily used to send data that can't be hacked or intercepted using conventional methods. In 2030, it may be possible to use a personal computer to transmit or access quantum encrypted information through a cloud-based quantum computer. The U.S. Department of Energy has already unveiled its blueprint for a national quantum internet, and we may see a prototype for it by 2030. Number 9, 1 billion human genomes will be sequenced. By as early as 2025, DNA testing will be so cheap, fast, and routinely accessible that over 1 billion human genomes will be sequenced around the world. That's about 1/8 of the world's population. The quantity of genomic data will reach the exabyte scale, around the same size as the video file content of the entire YouTube website. This massive amount of data will make it easier than ever before to use artificial intelligence to identify multiple disorders linked to specific genes, including cognitive disorders. Since 75% of a person's IQ is attributed to genetic differences, the identification and exploitation of these genes could play a huge role in creating super intelligent humans in the coming decades. Number 10, human brain simulations could become possible. By as early as 2025, the exponential growth of data and information technology could make it possible to form accurate models of every part of the human brain and its 100 billion neurons. Although it could be possible to scan and map a complete human brain down to the neuron level, analyzing the enormous volumes of data it contains and using that to fully understand its workings will take much longer. Nonetheless, this major milestone would lead to innovative approaches to resolve most types of brain-related ailments. It could even help us in areas such as non-biological brain augmentation, using brain-computer interfaces to control virtual objects, and the transferring of memories from humans to machines and machines to humans. Number 11, terabyte.
Okay, and that's, oh, we're only going to get halfway through. Isn't that, I just think it's flipping amazing, right? The DNA matches for criminal activities, right? And narrowing down suspects or eliminating people from the suspect pool. You know, it's only going to get more accurate. I think that's amazing.
Mhm.
And then the little other one was the brain interface. If anybody's got a family member that is losing their memory or has any form of dementia, you know, just to get them back to being themselves.
Mhm.
Right? It's just the possibilities and young people having strokes in their 20s, 30s, you know, being able to have not being frustrated for the rest of their life and having a good quality of life. Folks that do have like ALS, like Sheldon's hero there that passed away.
Oh,
So Proton.
In the wheelchair.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yes, yeah.
Okay.
Not Professor
Then Stephen
Proton.
Hawking.
Stephen
Yeah,
Hawking. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, he had ALS, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so can you imagine, like, you know, he got a voice modulator and stuff like that. But of course, this guy was pretty well off, right? And a professor. And so, you know, now people will have that opportunity to think and it get typed out onto the screen, you know, and with AI getting better, they're not going to sound so odd. They're going to have a more, again, productive life. I just think it's flippin' amazing.
Yes.
What about Mars there?
Oh yeah. Well,
Count me in, I want to go.
Now, did you notice the gas, Michael?
What, the methane gas?
Methane.
Yeah. Well, methane gas, that's natural gas. That's what we.
I wonder if that's produced by the crew.
I think they've got methane in the atmosphere on Mars, right? They've got a lot.
Oh,
of
is there?
Right. Yeah.
But that was the interesting part, is they said they could produce it on Mars for the flight home.
Yeah.
What if the system, like how many rockets do you have to send if it doesn't work, right?
Yeah,
Oops,
really.
we're stuck, we can't leave. But there's
Make
so
sure you
many.
serve chili on the flight home.
Yeah, there's so much technology out there for so many different things. And I think it really just boggles the mind about some of the things that they want to do, we're going to do. There's obviously things that we want to do that we don't know yet how to, but there's other things that are imminent and are going to happen, and a lot of those things in that video, they said by 24 or 2025, we're going to be doing this. Well, that's only 2 and 3 years away.
Yeah.
I know. Isn't that amazing? Now, you know what the methane now, right? Like, I didn't know Mars had that on the surface. But that is a huge problem here from all our old dumps, right? I mean, it's so dangerous. They've got vents everywhere, and it's just being thrown up into the atmosphere.
Well, you see, this is one of the things about when you get into this whole climate change thing. One of the byproducts of drilling for oil is methane gas. So what we have a demand for, we put into pipelines and we're using to heat houses now, because it's going to go up one way or the other. Okay. Mm-hmm. But we actually, if you go to a place where there is oil rigs and we have drilling, they actually have to burn some of this stuff off, because we have more than we can use, right? So when I hear a plan of the technology to change all our houses from natural gas to electric, well, really, what's that going to save? Because it's still going to get burnt, right? Mm. And now we got to generate electricity too. So it's and I mean, it can be liquefied. That's one of the things they want to do, is liquefy some of our methane gas that's coming from these wells and send it to Europe for natural gas for heating, right?
That would be amazing.
The LNG plants, right? So we have the technology to liquefy this, put it in ships and ship it across the ocean.
Is it stable?
Yeah. I mean, they were talking about. I don't know if there was a big one they were going to build in BC to send things over to Asia, and there was talk of one being built in Newfoundland, because once again, one of the big things that's come up in Newfoundland with deep water drilling technology is they now have oil fields out there, right? We're pumping crude from the continental shelf.
Hibernia, yeah.
Yeah. So
how many years ago did that happen? Like
20 years it's been in production. Not that long, right?
Yeah.
So we have the technology to do all these things to ship the stuff around, but we do have a conflict with climate, whatever you want to call it, emergency change, right? And so there's this whole thing of we got to count carbon. But if it's going to get burnt anyways, why don't we burn it and at least keep people warm? That's my spin on it.
Yeah, if you're burning it wastefully, it's like throwing out food.
Exactly,
right?
and that counts as part of our emissions.
CO2,
right? Like because you burn it, it counts as emissions, even though it did nothing. It just burned off. Yeah, there's some of the big garbage dumps. They put stacks in, and they either vent it or burn it off.
Yeah.
Right. So why not maybe pipe some of that into the system and burn it in a house instead?
Is it? I know none of it's good, but is it clean? Is natural, because natural gas, although it leaves emissions, it was a clean emission.
Natural gas is methane gas.
It is
All natural gas is that natural gas that's coming out of the ground.
okay.
But they've put in apparently natural gas is actually odorless.
That's right.
So they actually
smell
put
in.
in a scent in there so that we know that there's gas there, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
there's
your
a
house would
leak.
blow up and you wouldn't know why. Yeah.
well, yeah.
I actually saw a thing on YouTube where they collected all the washroom stuff from humans.
Yeah.
They connected it in a thing, and the air, the methane that came out of it, they captured it and they pumped it into people's homes for their stoves, right, to cook on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like
we have the technology to do all this stuff. It's sometimes how cost efficient is it, but we can do all this, right?
It's a natural resource that is we got 8 billion
decomposition.
poopers on the planet.
From any decomposition, like that's why we've got it in all our garbage dumps, right? Any old garbage dump can't be used for how many years until they know that it's completely finished the decomposition, and it will not, or minimal release of methane. We have an area here in Hamilton, the old Toro dump, right? It has been closed for, at least 25, 30 years. And they were venting it. Now it's become a park in the last 5 to 6 years, reclaimed land, if you will, but they still have vents.
Mhm.
They still have vents around. They have horrible drainage in the field, some of them, but as I think as time goes on, it'll get better too. But that's a long time to lose that kind of land.
Absolutely.
Can never put anything on it other than
You've all driven on the 403, right? Just east of King Street.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of bridges under there, and there's this big field off to the right-hand side. So one of the reasons why the 403 is sort of wavy through there is when they built it on what was part of a garbage dump. And
Right by
that
the
land
river.
continues to settle. But the land to the east, okay, so towards the city side, there's big playing fields. That was an active garbage dump until, I don't know, late 70s or early 80s. There's
Mhm.
vents up there. It's soccer fields and baseball fields now, right? But yeah, it's going to keep doing that for a long time.
I don't think they know when it like how long till it,
Yeah.
right?
Same thing with the lands beside the arena on Olympic Drive in Dundas here. You have to walk
really?
up a hill to go to the soccer field. Well,
Yeah.
that was the Dundas garbage dump,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So all these garbage dumps have become
Yeah.
parks
I
because
just want to correct something I said before. There's no methane in the atmosphere.
Oh,
Mars.
okay.
So you're right, Kathryn. It's probably coming from the people.
Yeah. Right. And
well,
and all the
it comes
garbage-
from the largest single source of methane on the planet, I'm told, is our cattle.
Yeah, human waste. Oh, waste.
No,
Yeah.
cattle. Cattle pass gas.
Cows farting.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, really?
Yeah, it's like as a single source, it's not the biggest source, but as a single individual source, it's
Yeah.
one of the biggest ones out there.
Wow.
That's one of the
didn't know
common
that.
arguments
I
I hear
thought-
for vegans when it comes to trying to reduce our production of beef is because the cattle are apparently contributing to the climate change.
I thought that was from their waste.
No,
I did
that's
not
just,
realize it was natural gas.
I mean, we produce it, right? You pass gas every once in a while.
Not me, but yeah, I've heard of that.
No, not you.
Michael does.
That is it's very interesting. And again, I did not even know that methane was used as a source of energy here, right? And I thought, well, if they do it in flipping Mars, why wouldn't you do it? Because I know about the parks, right? Why? And there are so many, like, it frustrates me when we talk about solar, right? Well, we can only collect so much because what do you do with it when you're all filled up, right? And you don't need it. And it's like, wait a minute, you guys developed all this solar power, but you just stop using it when you have no way of storing it. Like, how many times have you gone by windmills, right? And you're going, it's such a windy day. Why aren't you going? Oh, because we've got enough energy. We don't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
It seems ass backwards.
That's the problem with these, some of our, what we call green power sources. And it's because we don't necessarily create the energy when we need it.
Well, then you want to be back next week because we're going to do the last 10 of the expected tech. And a lot of those things that I thought were like so ridiculous. How could you not know how to do this? They're going to have it figured out by 2030.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I found that was really exciting. So we'll have that off-grid village. Ivan, don't you worry. Okay.
So it's the rest of this video that we saw today then, right, Kathryn?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. That's good.
It'll be the last one. Yeah. It was just too massive with the things that you wanted to talk about. I knew I couldn't do it in one episode. So thank you very much, folks, for coming into TechTalk
thanks,
and contributing. Again, don't forget, later today, Ivan, at 11 o'clock, we'll be doing a back-end training, right? Help you get your little ads out there, coupons, articles. What do you think I was going to say there, Michael?
No, it's what you're actually saying. I was just putting my own little spin on it, like he's doing back-end training.
Oh,
Okay.
Speaking about back-end training, my buddy Thomas down there
on the brain now.
should tell his new members to come on the call. All right.
Let's stop recording before this gets any dirtier.
Yeah. Okay, folks. Thanks for a great day. Have a great weekend.
All right.
Take care.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.